Welcome back, everybody, to the greatest crossover between JVS and Big Gold Belt Media. Nat here and Terrell to talk about the last and final episode of The Wheel of Time, Season 2, Episode 8, What Was Meant to Be. So many feelings, so many predictions that we had from last week going into this. I feel dumbfounded, and I apologize for one thing, and I stand by what I said the entire time for another. And I'll get into that. And I was just want to say I was right. This episode was directed by the legendary Sanaa Hamri, who we both had the pleasure of doing an interview with this week. Which both of our interviews turned out completely, of course, different questions. I felt like she was just schooling me, like she was giving me all the knowledge that I needed. She was proper pronunciation, everything was on point during the interview. But I say that to say, check out both of our interviews with the director on both of our channels. Very very good time, very good conversation. But yeah, before we even get into this, the same thing. Do you? I mean, obviously, you know, like you read the books, but did this kind of hit expectations for you for what you wanted to see, like visually? Like, did you think did they do a really good job for you bringing everything in this chapter that you thought you were going to see?
They did ran dirty, but but I think it's kind of a catch-22 because this is a group effort to defeat the Dark One.
Yes,
or it will be. And I think this is the season for them to really establish that and to include certain other players who are just as important. So, as much as they did Rand dirty, and as much as I know that there's actually cool stuff that Rand does that comes later, I'm concerned that for fans that have been waiting for Rand to do something, I don't know if this will be a complete turnoff and if that will, maybe preclude people to maybe like lose faith in the show. I'm assuming you liked it, but I'm concerned that maybe others who maybe had higher expectations. I know the book clubs are going to have a field day with this, but some of the changes I understand. So yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more. But I knew about Hopper, y'all, and I still cried. I was like, I was trying not to, but I was like, damn it, I'm crying again. But my favorite moment was when Matt blew the horn. I was like, I was cheering. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of expectations on Matt. I didn't have, obviously not having the knowledge of anything coming. I didn't expect the Hopper moment and a lot of other things, but great episode overall that I enjoyed. And I pray to God we get that season 3. But let's get into episode 8 of season 2. So as we jump right back into this, we come back and we get a little preview of 3,000 years ago, and we see all the Forsaken gathered.
No, just the Shamael. It was Lews Theron and his companion sealing a Shamael into the seal that we saw in season 1.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. Yeah. I was like, okay, why does this feel like it's supposed to be familiar to me? Like, was it knowledge that I missed? So okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then they say, it's a repeated moment that stuff keeps happening. But we get a preview of kind of like the relationships there, and what his relationships were with his friends at that time, because we know these beings are like I don't want to say immortal because they can still be killed, or like I guess sealed away is not the same as like being killed. Like you just kind of reincarnate, you just kind of come back. I feel like they kind of explain that a little bit. The same thing with Matt and like the soul of the dragon reborn. As they keeps going in the endless cycle, and the next person becomes the dragon, and yada yada yada. I feel like they kind of explained that. I mean, am I missing something here, or did I explain this reincarnation thing with them like just weird?
Well, I think Ishi's goal was to just stop reincarnating and to just stop, that cycle, the wheel, from regurgitating, recycling
Right.
into this earth to relive a life. And sometimes their lives are very similar, and then sometimes it's very different. So it just depends on the person. So for Ishi, he wanted it to end, period. And I
Right.
think he finally got his wish, at least on his part, even though he went about it in a way that he probably wasn't even expecting. So it was very interesting, that whole thing. So, but yes, in a general sense, you can reincarnate and live different lives, and that was
Yeah.
established in this episode. But as far as Ishi and the Forsaken, um, they're them from 3,000 years ago. They were just sealed, kind of like in a sleep, so to speak. They were conscious, they were aware that they were sealed, but they couldn't really do much. So now they're like out. So they're themselves from 3,000 years ago. They're not reincarnated. That's the difference.
Oh, okay. Almost like a cryo sleep type thing.
Yeah.
And they just okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I'm like, oh, okay, they're just like immortal beings. They can't die. Okay, what's going on here?
Well, they did establish that Lanfear was granted um, like immortality, and we kind of saw that when she was able to resurrect herself from
Right. Yeah.
throat slashed and stabbed.
And
So the
got
Dark
back.
One, for some reason, granted her that ability, but we're not sure that if he granted anyone else that ability. So,
Yeah, she got back up in like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, okay. So that's why I thought that ability extended to all of them, not just her. When I initially
ironically, I don't know if I should say anything, so I'll just leave it alone. For Lanfear, she was able to come back, but again, there's more to it than that I can't get
into. Okay. Well, season 3 it is. We jump back into, we see Moiranne and Lan. They get pushed out of a portal by Lanfear, and Rand, of course, is trying to, hey, I don't trust you, I don't want to be with you, XYZ. Like I don't know what your goal is, and to be clear, I mean he's just as confused as the audience is, because I don't know what's going on and what her role is or what she's trying to do. And even still, by the end of this episode, it's still very unclear who's winning this chess game. It's weird. It's like, so clearly and they tell you from the get-go, hey, she's like, I'm going to portray you, Ishi, like, and I understand like where the confusion was when she actually did it, when she'd been saying it for like 7 episodes. So everybody's like, yeah, he said that you were going to do it. Yeah, she said that she was going to do it. Like, is everybody else not seeing this? Like, okay. So she pushes Moiranne and Lan out there. They're in the middle of nowhere. They're trying to figure out what's going on. This right here at the beginning, like as we're getting to all this and just kind of the pacing, had me really thinking about what you said last week about how it was feeling kind of rushed. And even to me, not reading the books, it did feel rushed to me, because there was so many things I felt like should have took more time, should have had a little bit more seasoning, and it was just like, okay, let's get it going, let's get this going, let's make this happen. And I felt like that was definitely okay. Hurry up and put Moiranne and Lan right here. We're not gonna get any of the conversation, any of the walking, or we're at the last episode of what was going on when they first walked through the portal. It's like, okay, they walked through the first time, and then they just get pushed out, and okay, here we go. But I could definitely feel the pacing of it being like, okay, let's hurry up and wrap this up within an hour.
Yeah, in some ways it was rushed, and in other times I was like, what are y'all doing? Y'all taking a little too long. So it was kind of all over the place. But the moments that they sat with, for the most part, were good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem. I mean, like, definitely. I mean, everybody had a moment here. Right after that, we cut back to Perrin, who's finally getting some screen time. After 8 episodes, I feel like I can count on my hand how much time he's actually had within the show, within 8 episodes. And he is with and what's her name with the hood?
Avienda.
Yeah, she's with them, and I feel like they mentioned something here about the dream space, because I wrote that down. I'm like, okay, maybe I misheard that? She had mentioned the dream space or something like that as they're walking.
It's a saying that the Aiel have. It's pretty much she was saying people are going to die today.
Mm.
That was the interpretation.
Oh,
They're gonna,
I thought it
yeah.
was a reference to Lanfear's, like, that ability they were using in the dream. The dream. Okay.
No,
Okay.
that was pretty much saying folk going to die today.
We then get into the conversation I just made a reference to, with Ishii and Lanfear talking, and again, she told you, like, this is going to happen. I'm not, he's like, what are you planning at? Why'd you bring him here? What's going on? That wasn't the plan. At this moment, again, she already told you she was going to do this. Has this been rewritten anyway for the show versus the book? Like, as far as like everything up to this point, like the way it's paced out, the conversation between them two, like everything leading up to this moment.
There were several parts that they changed. Again, they're incorporating several parts from books 2 and 3, mostly book 2, but definitely some elements in book 3. And I even want to say the foreshadowing in this episode definitely hinted at more books to come. So, as far as the infighting with the Forsaken, that's a given. That has been something that's in the books. But how they went about it in this particular episode is different because again, they're combining a few things and they're moving some things up and pushing some things back. So it's a little bit twofold.
Okay. That makes sense. Like, I was wondering, like, how many, like, okay, well, is season 2 still within the same book, or are we somewhere else at this point? Like, every 4 or 5 episodes is like half the book. I get half a book, I guess.
They did like a good mix, but I think the majority of what they did this season was book 2, but they incorporated elements of book 3 because book 2 and 3 are very similar as far as like the pacing, what happens in both books. As far as there's not much movement. Some people disappear and they're not there like half the book, so it's kind of like, okay, we might as well just combine these two. So, so again, definitely, I want to say maybe 60% The Great Hunt and 40% The Dragon Reborn.
Okay, so it's a fair ratio. I feel like.
I mean, book readers, if y'all can let me know in the comments, like ratio wise, like what did you think as far as books 2 and 3? Like how much was The Great Hunt and how percentage wise? Because I feel like it's about 60-40.
Right.
Maybe even 70-30.
Right here, we start to kick off. Where I had to pull up to the edge of my seat. And I'm like, okay, it's about to get real. We about to have a episode, season 1, episode 8 moment, because that seems to be how they want to use this episode as like the catalyst of the entire season, obviously. And we get another battle that pops off here in the city, which I didn't think was going to happen so fast. I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to be another season. I'm like, okay, so and this is where like kind of the pacing just starts to jump. We see everybody getting ready for this battle, this war. We see Rhaena threaten to cut Egwene's tongue out if she disobeys her. Which I'm like, at this point, man, she's about to get free. Like, it's come on. Which I was a little bit confused because I felt like at the end of the last episode, we saw Nynaeve and Elayne pop in the room where she was. Maybe I missaw that.
No, that was a preview, but it looks like she was getting ready. She put the clothes on where they were at, but it just looked like, it looked like she was at the cell when really she wasn't. They needed to make their way to where Egwene was.
Okay,
which took too long, and if I'm being quite frank, it was. But I think with the chaos and everything, it was kind of like they had to move cautiously. But yeah,
definitely took a time. I'm like, all right, come on, like. Like I said, we see her, talk about cutting off their tongue after the first, she disobeys her the first time, and then threatens to cut off her hands if she does it the second time. I mean, at this point, she's done it at least 10 times. Like, if he was going to do it, he was going to do it. I almost feel like this sense of like between her, like she was a little bit more sympathetic to Egwene, letting her keep her name, the way she was treating her. I feel like she could have did worse. Again, I'm not sure the time that she was there. They make it come across like it's just a few days. I'm not sure if the time difference in the book and the show is it kind of depicted the same way. Like, is it a few months? Like they finally decide to come rescue her. She's there. Like a few weeks.
Um, I want to say it's more weeks than definitely not days.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was like 3 days. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they unfortunately they don't really do a good job of really saying like how many days, how many weeks. I mean, you can kind of glean from how long Aaron has traveled to get to Falme that maybe it was, a couple of weeks or at least a week or something. Um, so that I guess that's our way of seeing how much time has passed.
Right. Um, we see we like I said, we finally cut to that scene with Nynaeve and Egwene. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm just gonna say it right now. I was gonna try to hold off. Can we just give the most
Do
useless
your rant. Do your rant.
can we just do the most useless character award to her right now? Like, what was even the purpose of you being here? Like, I just don't understand. And look, I really enjoyed this scene right here where she's able to torture her and they really explain how it works, like how this collar works, how this power works from the other side. I really enjoyed that scene, but then right after that she serves no other purpose. Like, no other purpose. I'm like, there's literally a scene where your friend gets shot and you're just sitting here like, I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. How have you not figured this out by now? Why did we waste so many episodes watching you go through these freaking arches for you still to have no point? Like, at least within this season, I just don't understand. And again, I had the same conversation with our director here for this episode, and I explained to her why. Look, I get it. I understand the hero's journey method that we're doing here, but it's just so many other things. It's just so annoying about this character, and I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. I'm impatient. I really want her to be at a level that she's supposed to be because we know what she can do, and I feel like that baton gets passed to a completely different character, which I already expected it to be, and I really appreciate them for doing that. But I just don't know what Nynaeve was doing here. Shout out to the MVP Elayne in this episode. I'm sorry, Elayne in this episode, because she's now my favorite character in the show. Yeah, I like Elayne now, just because at least you can heal. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed with Nynaeve this episode because she does a lot more in book 2 and book 3 than what they established here. But I have a feeling, I do think in a general sense, the Great Hunt was a way to really establish how important Ewene is and for her to go through what she goes through. Right. So for her to do what she does in this episode was important. There was definitely foreshadowing with it. So unfortunately, it's kind of like they couldn't have everybody take, a forefront. It's kind of like, I have a feeling because Rand and Nynaeve were kind of like established as far as like what they can do, how powerful they are, what have you. This season was pairing Matt and Egwene's opportunity to show us why they're important. So in this finale, did the same thing. At the end, I was like, squad up, but yeah. So for me, they could have at least given a little more for Nynaeve. She could have at least been angry enough to do something. She is capable of creating an angry scenario in her head enough to access the one power. And it's kind of like they did it in the first episode, but then they didn't do it again. So they could have at least had her do it a couple more times to at least she's able to channel just when she has to she has to be angry in her head in order to do so. So they could have done a better job of giving us that. But she could have healed Elayne.
I think
And she
I
could
mean,
have healed Rand, or at least, healed it temporarily, but they didn't let her do that. But again, they let Elayne they showing us how important Elayne is. So I don't know. It's kind of like y'all need to do better as far as the show. And I'm not necessarily blaming the director, but as far as the writing, y'all need to do better as far as like making sure people have their moment to shine, but at the same time, don't push people all the way back that you're like, what are they there for?
yeah.
And I think that's what happened with Nynaeve this season in the latter
I'm,
half.
I'm sorry. Was your friend getting shot in the leg not enough to trigger something for you? I'm literally like, okay, she's about to have her Gohan moment. Sorry, she's about to have she's about to unlock this Super Saiyan, whatever. I'm like, she's about to go off. I apologize.
I was expecting it. I was expecting it too, but it didn't happen. She got her up. She got her up to Rand and Egwene up at the tower.
She spent more time looking at how she was going to get to the tower instead of actually getting to the tower. And then when you got there, somebody else had to step up to the plate for you again. Oh, what do I do? I'm just looking. Sorry, I was about to write an apology to her, like, oh, she's about to have her moment. She does not have her moment at all. Anything other than put this armor on and torture the one chick.
She was enjoying that a little too much. I was like, dang, Nynaeve, is that how you're gonna push your anger? Yeah. Torturing the Sultan? Now, granted, the Sultan don't deserve it, but I'm just saying, like, it's like you set us up, and then what happened? Nah.
Disappointed. I'm moving on. Yeah. We see Matt. Comes 1-1 again with the knife. Now, Paul, what's the name of the character, the black character that brings the knife? Because I keep
Padan Fain, and they didn't utilize him nearly as much as I was hoping they would.
I'm like, where was he at? We've seen him all of 10 seconds the entire season. If I had to count, maybe 30.
Yeah, they didn't utilize him at all. At least not how I was hoping they would. Now, I don't know if they're trying to do something later with him, but for now, they should have established how important he is too. And I didn't get that this season.
How did he get the knife?
He must have gotten it from Leandrin. It's really hard to tell because what they're saying is Matt was going to go after the dagger at the White Tower, and somehow Padan Fain got the knife. He probably got it from Leandrin. I don't know how Leandrin got the knife. Somewhere in episode 6, that it's a scene that we didn't see. I would have liked to have seen that scene because then we would have known for sure how Padan Fain got the knife. And we know, unfortunately, this was probably on the cutting room floor too. Last season, he managed to use the waves, even though you're supposed to use the one power to use the waves. They didn't really do a good job of explaining how he was able to. But this season, Padan Fain was underutilized to me, especially given what I know of Padan Fain. That was a disappointment too this season.
I mean, Amazon, if you wouldn't mind, can you send us the deleted scenes, just so I can get a little bit more context? Because I'm literally like, wait, what? When it's so many what moments in this episode? Like, okay, when did that happen?
So there was another scene that apparently got on the cutting room floor because I'm probably putting it out there, but when we get screeners, sometimes we have things that we're not supposed to reveal unless we're doing a show like this and it's after it airs. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that they mentioned in that in episode 7, I didn't see it. So I'm like, where is it? Where is this scene? Because I thought I missed it, but it wasn't there. And I'm just like, why say that if you're not going to put it in the episode? So, I don't understand. So there's some things that happen off screen that I'm just like, y'all should have just put it on.
I mean, and again, I'm talking to you as somebody that's not read anything going into this. If it didn't make sense to me, and and you're showing it to me visually, then you dropped the ball somewhere. Like, I should not be questioning what. Wait, what? Okay, sorry, but yeah, that the whole knife thing, and Matt, saying, "Hey, I'm not going to touch it." Couldn't he have just like pressed it on him, put it in his hand? Like, what was stopping him from throwing? Can he throw it up against him? Like, I mean, he has to physically palm the knife. Like, how does this
I
work?
I think they wanted to make it his decision, that he succumbs to the dark, so to speak, um, to the knife and the dagger, but he didn't. He said "F you." So, and that's the Matt that I know and love. He's like "F
Oh.
you." So I've been waiting for this Matt to make an appearance, because he was kind of making an appearance in book 3. So and he created the Ushrundai, and I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be on and popping now. I am with it. Yes, this is the Matt. Yes, yes. But this is very different to how he's using the dagger, because Padan Thane has the dagger a lot longer. Um, mm, yeah, but still
Right.
an interesting way that they're doing it. He created the Ushrandai using the dagger versus a different knife, and I'm hoping that we can still eventually get rid of the dagger. I feel like that was more beginning of book 3, but then Padan Thane took it again. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Mm, mm, mm.
And again, I'll back, and I said, I'll eat it and say, look, I was wrong about Matt. He came back and he served the purpose that I was not expecting him to serve. I thought he was just going to be the guy that killed his friend, and they swerved me, and which that's and wrestling, I should have saw it coming, right? But again, Matt serves a bigger purpose in less than 20 minutes than Egwene. I'm sorry, Nynaeve does this entire season. Um, what's up, man? He can't channel, and he definitely still did what he did, but that whole moment with him was pretty cool. We see Lan and Moiranne here have this intimate moment on the beach. Oh man, just so passionate. Babe, please let me in. I've been missing your touch. Please, let's reestablish this bond. I know you want to. Please, just hug me the way you used to. And then she comes in and admits, look, I'm trash. You were the better. You were the better of us both. Please. You sure you want to do this after how I treated you? And you talk about a toxic relationship here. This guy he could have left. He could have left and been done with this. No, let me back. I want more. Let me back in. Your thoughts on this scene and how they did it? Versus,
So I was wondering how they were going to show someone bonding, because we do see that in the books with different characters, but it's kind of like a new spring moment, but present in a sense. So New Spring is the prequel. So it was kind of like a reintroduction of Lan and Moiranne, as far as their bond, which was nice. Again, that scene was like, I wish they picked it up a little bit as far as the pacing. I was like, okay, y'all taking a little too long. I want to get back to other folks, but it was still a beautiful moment, because I'm glad that the audience gets to see how a bonding works, especially with the threads of the spirit and how it ties them together. That was well done. So I got to give them kudos for that, because it's showing us, we've been hearing about it for 2 seasons. We're actually seeing how that process works for people that are willing to bond with each other. So I'm glad that they showed us with Lan and Moiranne. This is the first like 2 people or Aes Sedai Order that we see with a bond. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, like I said, the little swirl and like the strings. Like I said, I thought that was pretty cool too. I was wondering if they were I was wondering if they were actually going to show them reborn and how they would do it. And like you said, they did a really good job of showing this. And then as soon as they did it, man, it was back to action, back to back to the moment.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of season one and how they were in sync with each other and how he was her guard while she had to do what she had to do. She came in clutch.
So, questions about the bond here.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean? And I feel like they really haven't explained it to me as well. What he knows, she knows. She knows, he knows.
Well, they can feel each other's feelings, or kind of like sense their next move. It was kind of explained in the comments in one of our other earlier episodes. Like they don't really necessarily read minds, but they are connected enough that they can kind of like sense what the other may do. So,
I asked that because I was like, okay, does Lan know about her relationship with the man, what is her name?
well, they can mask certain things, which is again what Moiranne did in episode 6 when she saw Swan. She masked the bond, so he couldn't feel her do or her feelings while doing the do with Swan. So that can be established, and then with Maxim mentioning that with his bond with Ivan and Alana, like they're only they only sense each other, or the mask is, or the bond is unmasked when they're in battle, and they need to be able to be in sync with each other. So that's the only time that they're really in each other's heads, so to speak, as far as senses, emotions, all that other stuff. And something tells me that Alana and Ivan probably have their bond unmasked, probably because they're more in love with each other, but I don't know.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Also, just kind of reminds me, why was there just no time to figure out what happened to someone, like what that whole transition? Like,
we no, we'll probably get that at the beginning of season 3. I'm glad that they didn't touch on that because we needed to focus on Falme. We needed to focus on our Fab Five.
Okay.
Even if they didn't do much, but we still need to focus on our Fab Five and some of the other players and foreshadow things to come with the characters. So
Okay, I'll accept that. I'll take that. I wrote this next note as we're getting our family reunion that we've waited for 8 episodes for. We've got our Avengers assembled, but everybody is now, hey, you're alive! Oh my god, what's going on? We got that moment here, and then like I said, at this point, like I felt like they put this is where the episode started to kick off in hyperdrive. Like, okay, let's keep it going. Let's go. Oh, no, okay, no time to talk. Let's go. Scene, action. Which I thought the action in this episode, by the way, was really good. Very well choreographed. If they weren't actually killing people in the show, I wouldn't even know. This looks really good. Arrows to the face, neck, just amazing. So shout out to the stunt team, everybody that did that. This is really good. I definitely enjoyed it. This is what I wanted to see in my episode 8, in my season finale. And they did a really good job.
Well, we got a little more close and personal, whereas we were supposed to get a bigger battle scene last season, and we, as far as like in a field, like a large field, but instead we had to get what we got. So this, I really thought it was a nice touch that the White Cloaks brought the fog, and that they actually were a little confident. I have to give them props. Like the White Cloaks actually felt confident as far as planning a battle, executing a battle, and they try to get the people to side with them so they can get rid of the Sanchin. And they established the fact that they were slavers, and this is something that wasn't right. At least Bornhold. Valda, but that there are at least a few White Cloaks with good head on their shoulders, but Bornhold's now dead. Okay, we're gonna get into that. But I'm just saying, the White Cloves were actually confident, and I was actually impressed with them. So I got to give them props.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Even though I still hate them, but they were a little confident. I'm like, okay, I see you. Okay.
Did they plan this out to happen on the same day at the exact same time, or was just pure coincidence? Was one of those wheel weave type things?
Mm-hmm. It was wheel weave. Yep.
Okay.
Coincidence. Mm-hmm.
All right. No further explanation, right? We kind of cut back to Egwene here. She's getting kind of getting the back of a little bit more sense of control, even though she got her hair cut off, which seemed like that really hurt her. I wasn't.
It did, especially with her braid. That wasn't her braid was important. So to cut that was.
Did I miss that, or was that like a family thing?
Well, the braiding. I thought I mentioned it. I mean, I've been talking to other people about it, but or other reviewers like Dusty Will and all them. They were talking about the braid or whatever. But it may have been no Everyday Negro. My bad. But anywho, the braid is important because back in season 1, it was a milestone for her to become a woman by braiding her hair. You're alone but never alone. When Nynaeve was saying that back in episode 8, and then at the beginning of season 1, episode 1, it was part of their ceremony and she got thrown in the water. So that was her sense of home, and they cut that off. So yeah, that was a bluff.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, and I was just like, okay, maybe it's just something else. But she was hurt.
Even I was gasping. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they showed that.
Oh, she doing dirty. Okay, we doing it. I'm like, get her, Egwene, please.
She's definitely gonna die this episode. That sucks. But we see that, and we found out that the horn was taken at some point. And again, I'm like, did I miss this? Was just one of those off-screen, it happened
off-screen moments
that I felt like should have been included. Like they definitely
should have been included. I think it would have made Ingtar and Loial more useful in this episode. Yes, they fought, and there was even a scene where Uno popped up, and then Loial was like behind him. Like I guess he was trying to provide backup just in case he needed it, but it was like he was just standing there, and I'm just like, go with him, like fight with him, like what? Why are you standing there like that? Like no. But that's a scene they probably should have included. Less time with Nynaeve, more time with giving us possibly deleted scenes. Oh yeah, we got the opening.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
And maybe that opening, as much as I missed it, I'm like, that's taking time away. We could have included the scene with Ingtar and Loial getting the horn. Like,
it only took 30 seconds. Only 30 seconds. It was already an hour.
We could have had 30 seconds.
Come on, just some type of transition of it. Like the most important item, one of the most important items. Like you couldn't find time to show them getting that. I thought that was weird. Again, I mean,
yeah, because it was a missed opportunity, because Lanfear mentioned something too about the Quendiar to give to Bael Domon to throw away in the sea, so it's not retrievable. And I think that was for her to guarantee that they can't be sealed again. But we'll see what Bael really does with that. But we'll get back to Selene in a minute. But as far as Ingtar and all of them, there were some things that they left out that I was surprised, but I think it makes sense that they left it out because they didn't really give us enough stakes or enough of a connection with Ingtar to follow through with his arc, but he does die in the second book. So yeah. Sorry.
Hey, what's out there now?
My bad. But okay.
Can't take that out of my memory. But
it's okay. But the way that they go about it is different. I won't talk about that. How about that?
Okay. So we get a little bit of difference on the
yeah. So it makes me think that they are switching a few people, or even it makes me wonder if even I don't think Beldolmon is a dark friend. They're trying to hint that he is, but I don't think he is. He just happens to know Selene as Selene. Like, I don't think he realizes that that's a Forsaken.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. I was just like, so go with the boat. Like she's kind of playing her human part here. Like what's going on here? Like
Yeah, see, that's what I'm not 100% sure about. Like, because the Forsaken can use people and they don't know who they are.
right.
They could be just regular people and they get used. Compulsion is a thing, so that's been established already or hinted at with Baron and the Brown Aja back in episode 5, I think. As far as what they think what happened with Sheriam. So it's kind of like one of those things where, yeah, a Forsaken can make you do something against your will, or even make you think that it's your decision, or just use you in a way that you don't realize that you're being used. So I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna be a wait and see.
So what you're saying is we had time to establish seeds for season 3, but not the 30 seconds to show us getting this horn.
Okay, so another thing about the room that Ingtar was talking about, there were items in there that I felt would have been good for shadowing too, and just having even Beldolmon get rid of that. I'm just wondering, okay, unless they're gonna establish that in later seasons. Again, I'm wishing they kind of just I wish they had kept the scene with them in the room as far as like the objects that were in it, because I think that would have been a good foreshadowing for later things, but it depends on if they're even going to include it. I don't know if they're going to include it because of changes that they're already establishing. So it's kind of up in the air. I don't know.
It would have been nice. I mean, especially for me. I would have liked to have seen the planning of this entire situation. At least the conversation where that happened. Maybe I missed it.
I mean, Loyal and Atar were just having a general conversation as far as like where the horn is. We don't know where Massima was kept. We don't know how he got out with them. We just know that Perrin happened to find him. Now, granted, again, because they haven't really established a good job of the concept of Taviran, a lot of coincidental things were happening, like Perrin meeting up with Ingtar and Loyal. Matt meeting up with Perrin to take the horn and blow it. Just little things were happening that were bringing them together. That's why they're Taviran. But again, they didn't really. They explained it in episode 8, but I don't think they really emphasized it again this season. So I don't know if they're leaving it on the floor or what. But coincidental things are happening to bring them together on purpose.
Okay. Well, I'll take that. We finally, get back to that. We can finally get back to Rand, who has the coolest moment in the show to me. One of the coolest moments. I'm sorry. Besides Egwene shooting off a giant fireball, which I thought was really cool. I love her. We see Rand use the Force here and take out everybody with literally no problem here. Like literally just takes out everybody. I was expecting a struggle, a fight. I mean, we see this guy who's supposed to be this big imposing emperor captain who apparently everybody is just shocked that he got taken out so easily.
I am too.
You expecting more here? This is like a longer fight?
Yeah, we were actually supposed to get a fight, but at least that would have made his character a little more useful. But it's like he was there and then he wasn't. So that was a little disappointing. You underutilized a black character and you killed him off like in less than 30 seconds.
Everybody dies. The one dude kills himself. He didn't even try to fight. Come on. I mean, I guess after you saw that, I probably would have killed myself, but it seemed a little extra.
Well, yeah. I mean, it does establish a little bit of Sanchan culture, so
yeah,
it reminded me a little bit of Japanese, both, but as far as like samurai and all that, but yeah, that was anticlimactic. Cool, but
Yeah,
anticlimactic.
I definitely
I
want
actually had to like pause, and I was like, "Ain't this a y'all gonna do this to Tara? Like, he wasn't there long, but dang, you could have given him a moment." It was like he was posing and then he dead.
sucks. Absolutely sucks. I mean, I'm sorry. When did we have a moment where Rand all of a sudden had control of his power? Did I miss that, or was that like last episode? Because I felt like he was like, I don't really know how to use this.
He doesn't. It's instinct.
Because it felt like he showed up to the party knowing how to shoot everybody precisely in the throat.
I mean, you gave him that cool moment, but you couldn't give him more cool moments with Ishii. I think that was what I was waiting for. I was like, okay, if you're not going to do at least a little bit of sword fighting in this scene, are you going to give it to me with Ishii? You didn't even do that. So that's why I was like, y'all did Rand a little dirty. But at the same time, we do know that while he's learning forms, he's not really that good at it yet. So I guess it's probably fine that we didn't get what we were going to get in book 2 with the fighting. But I was hoping for a little bit of something. Like, you could have backed it up with the power. But they, okay. I'm about to get on a rant.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't gotten that far yet. You're still kind of going through the episode. So I'm like, when we get to that part, that's when I'll be like, okay. But yeah, they did Turok dirty.
Sucks, man. But yeah, so we see him take the horn. We see the hero. And what was his name? The guy who was like, man, we should just leave. Like, the horn is the most important thing. We need to get out of here with it.
Oh, Inktar.
Yeah, he died.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was it.
Again, not what I was expecting. Well, I was expecting him to die, but I was expecting a little bit more, like I said before. So, and then I was concerned about Massima. I was like,
Yeah. So
I think my book readers kind of guessing where I'm going with that, but I mean, we'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of fighting going on. Egwene almost gets her, I want to say her hands chopped off before White Cloak blast.
That she saw coming, which I would be honest, I definitely missed that. She saw them down there. She looked down and was like, all right, I'm gonna let them go. I guess she saw what they was doing, and she kind of.
Well, I think even though her initial attack on the White Cloaks was pretty much being petty because they did kidnap her and did almost kill her, especially Valda.
Yeah.
But then she saw them again, actually helping people, actually trying to, be of assistance to the people that they're pretty much attacking. That they're also attacking the Sanchin, who she hates. So it's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right. And so that's when she was like, no. Because if she hit another fireball, that would have hit the people just as much as it would have hit the White Cloaks. So it's kind of like, you're not worried about casualties here. You're not really, who are you aiming at? Like, there are people in the streets panicking and not, they're running around in a panic, and you're attacking them at the same time that you're attacking the invading force.
Right.
So, what are y'all doing?
Not working. So yeah, we get a scene with the Forsaken. They explaining about the endless cycle of the Forsaken kind of fighting amongst themselves, and they're all supposed to be cool, supposed to be friends, family, and they keep repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again. At some point, you think everybody will have a cheat code to how to beat them at this point, because they just keep doing the same thing. And like you said, they're not reincarnating; they're the same person, but they're aging, but they're not learning. They're continuously like repeating their mistakes, as we have with the whole thing with Ishii and his plan and like what he's trying to do. And then Lanfear, I have no idea what she's doing, but
No, she's all about her boo. So she kind of gave him like a leg up, so to speak.
Right.
But at the same time, it was kind of like she was leaving for fate to take care of itself. Like, I think she kind of knew, just based on her spending time with him, that he wouldn't really turn into the dark. So she had to make a contingency plan. So it's like, okay, if I help you, then at least you won't really come after me. You can go after the other Forsaken, but I'm still around to push you along to where you need to go to. But if I can also get you, like, i.e. a relationship, and you love me just as much as I love you, win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I definitely, I mean, makes sense. It actually makes all the sense. We come past that scene with Selene talking to the shopkeeper, who I guess he's just trying to snatch up everything while he can. I guess he's looting.
Yeah, that's Belle Delmont. We talked about.
Yeah, so we got that scene, which again, a seed we're setting up for another season. We didn't have time for that, but we couldn't got the horn. Whatever. We come back to the scene with Matt still fighting his urges against this knife. I like that they kind of show this and direct this as though it's like he's fighting like a drug addiction almost. Like, you know, like he's like a fiend in the room, just like okay, you know. But he's been here before. He knows he knows how to avoid this, and clearly he's better than this. When he said he wasn't going to do it again, he wasn't going to do it again. So you know, he had to pull off a Kevin McAllister and figure out a way to put the knife on a stick, so he didn't actually touch it. Which I'm like, okay, is it not? As long as he doesn't physically touch it, I guess that's how it works. But yeah, he attaches to a stick. We see him, you know, get out the room here because the knife apparently melts doors like butter, or at least the lock, because you know it's a magic knife. And we come out and we stab the guard. One dude gets away again. Another season 3 seed that they had time for. We
okay. Now, well, backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
You didn't even know if Matt could fight. So that thing.
You are right. You are absolutely right. Again,
that thing, we had to be shown that Matt got some tricks up his sleeve. Y'all didn't know Matt could fight. I knew.
We never got the Rocky montage where we saw him fighting or learning how to fight. I didn't need it, I guess, but I really don't remember him doing too much in season 1. I feel like a lot of running and hey, I gotta go because this thing happened to me. I suck. I'm gonna go on a journey of self-loathing. I'll catch you guys later. We cut back to Rhaena, who I thought was dead at this initial scene where the rock comes and blows up everybody. And everybody gets hit except Ewene, who God dang it, she's lucky. I don't know how she keeps avoiding these situations. She should have died at least like 10 times in this show, but somehow she just keeps getting away. But yeah, we thought Rhaena's dead. She comes in. They cut to the genie cuffs popping off and the collar coming off, and they pretty much show you, like, you know, give you an idea how that works. Once one of the person dies, the release is gone, and then she picks up the collar, throws it on Rhaena. And pretty much they have a whole battle of wills here, you know, because she explains that only women that can channel it works on, which apparently I guess she could channel because she could see the weaves. Is that the same thing? If you have like the ability to do so but don't practice, you still do it? Like
you can have the ability to channel, but it's not like this is another thing they haven't really touched on a little bit. So there's people that are born with this part, and there's people that can learn. Like it's kind of weird. So it's kind of like a part of like and even I'm kind of confused by how that works. But there's people that are born naturally with it, and they have a natural affinity for it, whereas others you can kind of teach them, like they have it, but it could be dormant for like a really long time. Book readers, help me out, because I'm the concept is a little bit fuzzy for me. But there's a slight difference. But the point is they have the ability to learn to channel, and that was something that they didn't know. So, or the ability to channel, they thought that it was just something that they weren't demonic. Well, they are, because they can learn how to channel, or they can still see weaves. They can see people that can channel, and the fact that they're linked, you can't link with someone that doesn't have power.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I don't recall that being a thing.
Again, one of my highlights of this
unless
episode,
it's a bond. But
right. One of my highlights in this episode again is with Ewene, and her final standoff against Renna, who I thought would have been more of an exchange here after all we've seen, all the episodes we just had to go through. But I am still happy to see her get her moment. Even I don't know if I'm pretty sure she's killed people before. I can't confirm if she's actually killed somebody in the show. Guys, let me know. I honestly can't count bodies here. I know Rand and everybody else has killed people, but I don't know if she's ever killed anybody before.
No, she's killed Charlotte probably, but she hasn't really killed anyone before, like a human being.
Okay.
So this will be an interesting take, because it is slightly different, but I'm glad that they did it this way, because Ewene needed to get her licks in. She needed to get her moment as far as her overcoming this, and this is also foreshadowing. And I'm glad that they did it the way that they did it, because this is definitely foreshadowing. So I was happy with that too, because I think everybody will be cheering when they see this. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, finally for her to get her hit back, the lack of hesitation is what I really appreciated. Like, she was just like, nah, I'm killing you. And even though Renna like even asked, almost asked for almost a moment to spare her, she's like, well, like, if I die, you're gonna die too. Clearly, like, again, like I said, battle of wills, because she pretty much gave up and dropped the cuff before she, and then I guess by her doing that, thinking that she was going to release her, and that was not the case at all. And I loved it. I really appreciated that moment.
yeah, Ewene said what she said. She said she was gonna kill you. She followed up on that. She gonna kill you.
And you guys put all your faith in Nynaeve, thinking she was the chosen one here. And Ewene being jealous of her this entire time, again, shows her strength so many different ways in this episode, and I absolutely love it.
It's one of those things where she didn't really need to be jealous of Nynaeve.
Right.
So it's hard, and I wish she didn't have to go through what she went through to learn it, but I think that she has learned that she has her own strength. She is powerful in her own right, and we can only go up from here with the plane. Oh, there's so much good stuff coming with it. Oh my gosh. And as much as we hate Nynaeve right now, there's cool stuff coming with Nynaeve too. I just kind of wish that they did better with her in the season finale.
Come on. You did amazing. Don't think I don't like you. I love you. I've loved you since Ninja Steel. It's just the way this is written. I'm sorry. It's not your fault.
Oh yeah. Don't get it twisted. The acting or the cast, I'm loving the cast. Like, yeah. Even season 1 with its problems, I always loved the cast. So any writing problems, I'm not blaming the cast, because the cast is doing what they can do with what they got, and when they get good stuff, oh my gosh, it's great.
Yeah. We finally see Matt come in. I'm sorry, Rand comes in finally, talking about, hey, I came to save you, because everybody came to save somebody, knowing that they were specifically there at this moment, which I thought was hilarious.
Folks rescuing themselves.
Yeah. He finally gets there a second late. I mean, she killed her. Sorry, hey, I was coming. Sorry, I didn't tell you I was dead. I wasn't dead. We ain't got time for that. Let's go. And look who it is. As soon as people stand up, it's your boy Ishii out here trying to set up his master plan. And his master plan apparently resulted in Rand not being able to do nothing cool because he got shielded. And Ewene got blasted across the room, apparently knocked out for enough time, and Rand gets shielded, can't do nothing. I just found that weird for him to be as powerful as he is, for that still to be a thing that can so easily be done.
He's still on instinct, but he still hasn't taken the time to teach himself anything. So, or get taught anything. So, considering Logan got gentled and he was shielded, that would have been one of the first things I would have wanted to learn, especially if I didn't want to get caught by the eyesight and potentially gentled. But that's just me. But again, it's foreshadowing with Rand, shielding, all that good stuff. And so this is where Moiranne came clutch. Right. And thank God she had her powers back just in time.
But she said
maybe it's a good thing that Lanfear placed them where they placed her. Right. So that was cool seeing her use her powers again. And she was posing. Moiranne was posing. Like, she was like...
you gotta add some a little bit more flair to it. Yeah, right. Like,
yeah,
you can't just show them point their finger like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They gotta control the mana, the magic, and show how to shape it. XYZ, which like you said, I appreciate. And which again, jumping back to my man Lanfear catching that arrow, by the way. That was just amazing. That was really cool. And I was wondering, like, is that a thing where, like, because like she saw it coming, or they felt it coming, or was that just his training in general that he was able to do that?
A combination of his training, and when you're bonded with someone, you get a little bit of a perk. You get a little bit of enhanced abilities, so you can kind of like sense things before they come. Now, granted, Rima, that didn't help Rima, but in general, they can, fight better. They can, they're not tired as much, and they can catch arrows when they need to.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, he's using the Force out here. But again, jumping back to the betrayal that nobody saw coming. Lan and Moiranne takes out the ships, knocks out the shielding. But
at the same time, that's happening. Egwene is shielding a boy Rand. Oh, and Matt stabbed Rand.
Right, because
by accident.
He kind of could have waited a few seconds. I don't know. It was no right timing. But yeah, the mirror images, the astral projections, the Loki move. Basically like that, nobody saw coming, and of course here comes Matt again apologizing. Oh, my bad.
Well, I mean, in his defense, he wouldn't have known. I don't even think he realized that who he was being manipulated by was a Forsaken. All he knew was that this dude is not someone that I want to be around. So, yeah. And then you're trying to like force me to stab my friend, and he had a good shot. If Ishii could have died right then if he really wanted to die, but no, he had an astral project.
I just thought so. Is the knife the only thing capable of killing him, or could it have just been like a regular sword or something like that?
Well, Rand did kill Ishii with a sword. In fact, the Heron Mark sword.
Right. Okay. I was just wondering, like, if I guess that answers my question. Then it could have, but it seemed like that was kind of more of an enchanted blade type thing. That was
well. Bran did use the one power with the blade. I see what they did there. Oh yeah, I see what they did there. Now that the sword kind of like melted, and then that whole scene was again squad up because it was like
Yeah,
because Nynaeve and Elayne popped up with Elayne being able to heal Rand, and then he's like out of it, but he's like, "Who are you? Oh, who are
I,
you?"
I apologize. I truly do apologize. So I said Egwene didn't. I'm sorry, Nynaeve didn't serve a purpose. She absolutely did. She was able to carry Elayne to heal Rand. So I'll give her that. Okay, she did something. I apologize. She did.
It's not what I was expecting. Not just that. How about that? I was not just her. I was not expecting her to just do that. I was thinking maybe they could do it together. Maybe that would have been better. But it is what it is. But yeah, Egwene's holding her own against Ishii trying to shield him. She's holding for a while. She may not have been with the Sun-Chan long, but she may have picked up a few things. She was like, So good job, Egwene. So again, she's showing her stuff. I'm like, yes, Egwene. Again, a lot of foreshadowing in this scene. And again, squad up. Perrin pops up too with the shield, with the shield from the one of the heroes. I think Uno had that shield. So yeah, everyone squad up. Like we gonna shield Rand from these folk Forsaken. So until he can do what he need to do to end y'all, and that's what happened with Moiranne with the assist.
MVP to everybody, man, for the phenomenal job that was done trying to take this one dude out. We in the middle of the fight, we see, okay, like I said, we get Rand get sealed, Perrin. We see Hopper get killed, unfortunately. And Perrin finally, start the wolf out.
And he used an axe again. He used the axe and he killed his wife, and he used an axe again to kill somebody. In fact, it was his daddy, Jeffrey Bonehall. So, Junior is now upset, understandably, and foreshadowing with that too, because we had that brief moment, and even though I knew it was coming, I was like, "Ooh, oh, good foreshadowing there." And then what happened again. Good foreshadowing, him being upset and him probably wanting revenge. So good setup there. So I'm just like, oh man, and the fact that Perrin again used an axe to kill someone when he was trying to avoid doing that. It was like he was so enraged because of Topper. That's the best boy.
Yeah. The spirit of him put up too, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, I knew as soon as Volda was attacking Perrin, I was like, Topper's gonna come through, and then he did, and then I was like, oh yeah, Jeffrey Bonehall, okay, and I was still upset. I still cried. I was like, why am I crying? I know this was coming. Different, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah, that sucked, man. He told him to stay back. Told him to chill back.
He did. But Hopper wanted to.
He keeps getting away. Like what? It's like the second time I've seen you get bit by a dog, bro.
Was that the same arm that he was having in a sling in the first place? I don't even know. But it would be hilarious if it was. But I'm like, can someone in him, please? But I think we're gonna wait.
Yeah, I guess. So the whole Heroes of the Horn thing was extremely cool.
I replayed that a few times while I was waiting for you to finish up watching the episode.
Confused is like, okay, the people that were in the Horn were they people that already existed? Because it was the one dude that died like some episodes back was there.
So, and hopefully they'll kind of explain this in the next season. And I wish they kind of did it this season because it would have emphasized the importance of the Horn. Okay, so there are people that cycle through that are pretty much heroes. And Matt remembers himself being a hero. But this is slightly different because they introduced the concept of past lives, at least where Matt's concerned with Ishii. Now, yes, he's the father of lies, but this is a thing with Matt. And so they enhanced it with him being a hero, meaning that he's lived past lives and he's been a hero in each of his past lives, or several of them, at least. So, which makes me think maybe there were iterations where he wasn't a good guy, but there were enough iterations of him being a hero that makes him feel better about himself, and he's not a prick with his dad. There's something that's good, and that's what he's wanted this entire time, to feel important and to feel like he can contribute something. Even when he was with Perrin and Loyal and them, he's like, I don't want to leave you, but he had to leave them. It was important for him to, get the horn to Rand. So it wasn't like he was abandoning them. He was on a mission. So it still made him feel useful. And then he felt like he was by himself. He blew the horn, and now his memory. This is again a different way that they're establishing him remembering his memories or his past lives. But I do like it. This was a nice change. So, and it was important that he blew the horn. I was like, if Matt don't blow the horn, I'm gonna be pissed. So I'm glad he blew the horn, and the way that they did it was so cool. And the fact it was so nice to see Uno again. But I was really hoping that Matt would have at least mentioned some of the people, like the names of the people, because they're important. Especially little blonde chick with the arrow. I'm just like, y'all couldn't say her name. Ugh. But it was nice seeing Uno, and the person that talked to Matt saying we fought, beside each other. You couldn't say his name either. Oh,
I thought we was gonna have more time for the explanation. I mean, seeing as how this is a key moment in Matt's story right now, we didn't have time for that. But
y'all can give me a few more seconds with that. But when he spoke in Old Tongue with the charge, I was like, yes, because that's one of his phrases that he likes to speak in the Old Tongue, and I'm just, yes. I was cheering, I was clapping, I was like, yes, we get to hear the horn, we get to do their thing, even though it was a smaller army. I was kind of wishing they had a bigger army, but you know what? Small potatoes, we got something cool. So, and then of course seeing Uno again, I'll say that like 50 million times, because I wasn't even expecting to see Uno. So that was a nice surprise.
We had enough time to
and another thing that's established with the Heroes of the Horn. You can be added as a hero. Like if you can be reincarnated as a hero multiple times, multiple lives, like that, or you can do something really cool and get established as a hero. So, and it's interesting how when he blew the horn, the squad, they emphasized the squad. I was like, oh, I see what y'all doing there, y'all. Okay, all right, cool. Nice, one of my favorite, hands down, one of my favorite moments from this episode.
Oh yeah. I mean, again, not to hit this hammer on the head, this nail on the head, but again, another reason for why you would think you would want to show with this thing being so important as it is, to give it more time with the heist and explanation and everything like that. But yeah,
small gripe. Yep, but yeah, that. Well, even this season, they did very little explanation of the horn. They only gave us like a couple of minutes of exposition in the finale. They could have done a better job establishing why this is so important. They kind of hinted at it even in episode 8, but who's going to remember that?
Right.
Y'all could have sprinkled a little bit here and there, even with Loyal. Just someone could have been explaining the importance of the horn, other than what we got in episode 3, where people were using the hunt for the horn as a way of getting rid of poor people. Like, there are different ways that the hunt was used. Don't get it twisted, but you're still not emphasizing the importance. So that was a downside to this season, because the Great Hunt is about the horn. Horn being the key factor here, guys. But and that's why there was a Great Hunt. But yeah, that was the only I think negative for me with the emphasis of the horn, even though it was a very cool moment, and the fact that we could have gotten some name drops. I would have wanted some name drops.
So just to fast forward this a little bit, we see Rand stabs Matt because he's supposed to. That was prophesized.
You mean Matt stabs Rand?
Rand? What? Matt stabs Rand? Why did I say that in reverse? Master's ran, so we see that with the magic dark knife, the wound that looks like it didn't heal. I was kind of confused. I'm like, I thought the knife was kind of like evaporating people, like it was like burning them up.
It's very bad when you get stabbed with that knife, and while he's stabbing people, yes, they were pretty much disintegrating, but time was of the essence with Rand because of how powerful he is, and the fact that Elayne, kind of healed him, but not healed him. Like she kind of like put a band-aid
Yeah, it
on
looked
the
infected.
wound.
Yeah.
That's foreshadowing. um, so I'm. How about this? Like I wasn't expecting it so soon, and the way that they did it is different, but it's still important. So I guess they had to do it early so they can move on and focus on other things, but also come back to it. I have a
Right.
feeling.
Um. So yeah, after that we see them come back, beat the bad guy, turns into dust as he sees two birds cry. In a Prince moment there. But then he turns into dust. They beat the bad guy. We celebrate. We see Moiranne shoot off the Mortal Kombat dragon above them, kind of signaling the prophecy. The dragon. Everybody's ranting. The first time in like these two within these two seasons that we actually see them be kind of welcome as heroes, or whatever, they're not running for their lives. This also puts a new light on the dragon, which I think kind of makes him untouchable going forward with the Eyes to Die, because now he's like this public hero.
Mm,
Do something to him that's going to cause a riot.
mm,
um I'm touching something there. But
mm.
but yeah, so we get that, and then we, like I said, we end everything there. We then cut back to Lanfear. She's setting up her master plan. And this is where
Well, I think she was going to let him out, but I think it was going to be on her terms instead of Ishi being ahead of her and letting them out ahead of time. Because I think she needed to be in control of them and kind of like get an idea where they are. Because again, at the end of the day, she's probably going to try and help Rand anywhere she can to get in his good graces. So she was trying to move chess pieces, but Ishi was ahead of her. So we get introduced to Mogadeen, who's one of my favorite Forsakens. Lanfear, like they're already setting her up to be. Ooh, I'm really excited for her. Um, and they did name drop Samael in the opening sequence, so we are getting Samael as one of the Forsakens because they did downsize the Forsaken. So we kind of like have an idea of the women, but we didn't know as far as the men. We have an idea, but not all of the men are going to be on the show. So
right.
Samael is definitely one of them that's going to be on the show.
So she has like seems like they all have like different powers or abilities, or access to certain magic. Maybe they have like a base magic thing, or but it's like because we see Ishi kind of like using fire, like fire based attacks, stuff like that. Um, and again, I might, but I mean, like she's kind of doing like a spider web type thing. I mean, it could just be like a spell or whatever it is, not like a specific. This is like a fire type person. This is like a grass type person.
No, and again, they're just really good at certain things within the one power. Like they have their signature kind of like weave, and Mogadeen is spider-like, which is they definitely emphasized in this episode as far as her introduction and how she kind of like tries to shield Lanfear or express her power, her own power. Um, and you also get a glimpse of how maybe the other Forsaken, including Lanfear, felt about Mogadeen, but she gonna prove herself. So yeah, some good things are going to be coming with Mogadeen, and I can't wait.
Okay, so we're gonna get more of that. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much our episode there. We get that little after credits ending situation after the heroes have won the day. And yeah, great episode. I mean, I really don't have too much to say. I don't want to linger on too long. It's a really great episode. Like I said, after just mentioning all of the problems that we just mentioned and the things that were not explained within the spaces of the show, I mean, I can kind of get over it, but some of it is just too important to not have highlighted. The horn, it's just everything involved in that, and a couple other things. Like I said, just kind of not forgivable for me. Like I said, overall, still great episode. I mean, it doesn't. I really hope we get that season 3. Overall, I mean, you said you liked it. You thought it was a really great episode. Did you have anything kind of closing this out that you wanted to hit on or talk about?
Just that, as far as I know, they're definitely filming season 3, and now that the writers have the strike is in it, the writers, I'm super
Yeah.
glad that they're doing what they want because they deserve it. I hope the actors get what they want because again, we need better, they need better protections. They need to be able to make the money that they need to make, um, and get health care and all that good stuff. So, um, I'm holding out hope for the actors. Um, but yeah, as far as season 3, I'm pretty sure they're already filming it. It's just a matter of making sure that they can continue filming it because I'm hoping the ratings are enough and there's enough buzz, especially with this finale, good buzz, that we can move forward with even later seasons because there's just so much cool stuff. Like, and I
Yeah.
want to be able to share it with y'all. I want to experience it with y'all, book readers, non-book readers. I just so much stuff. Like,
It's a lot.
pray, y'all, just pray. Yeah, especially since season 3 is supposed to focus on a lot of book 4, probably some of book 5 too. It wouldn't surprise me, but especially since we just got introduced to the IEL, there's more cool stuff with the IEL. Like, there's more cool stuff happening with these characters that I want to see it, y'all.
Well, look, I just want to say, like I said, it was a great episode. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this entire season so far with you. Being able to get the insight that you have on the show, the knowledge, you definitely have made this fun. I feel like if I was to do this on my own, I would have just been confused. I mean, it's just, but you definitely have given me a lot more insight into what's going on. I definitely want to probably hit that library up and definitely get those books because I definitely want to read, but at least up to that point, just so I can read what the differences are. I probably still want to keep the future of the show hidden to a certain point, but I definitely want to read
um,
it.
well, I mean, if you still read books 1 and 2, again, there are characters that I mentioned this last week. There are characters that are introduced earlier that you haven't seen yet, that are probably coming in season 3.
Okay.
So as long as you're kind of like aware of that and maybe some concepts that maybe haven't been established yet that you may get a hint of in the first 2 books. I don't know if you should read book 3 because I don't know if they're going to include some elements in book 3 anyway, even though the focus is going to be on book 4. I mean, you can chance it, but again, because the stories are somewhat similar, you may be okay.
Okay.
And mm, maybe just do books 1 and 2 for now.
Mixed ones. Okay. I will look for 1 and 2.
If you're following the show, like as far as seasons or the books that they're doing, so
That on
um,
audiobook is read by Rosamund Pike, so I might get into that. So
I am an audio book reader with the OG narrators, Michael Kramer and Kate Redding. So I haven't had a chance to listen with Rosamund Pike, but I enjoyed listening to the series. In fact, it's a lot harder for me to read it, ironically, even though I'm mostly a reader. Like the this is one of the few series that I really enjoyed listening to. And maybe like one other series that I enjoyed listening to, or even reading both the book and listening to it. So yeah, it's definitely a good series. That and the way that they narrated it, the way that they emphasized like the action scenes, the way they pronounce things will be different. That's why some of us book readers are like, "How is this pronounced?" Oh, all right, we're pronouncing it like that. Okay. But yeah, a lot of descriptions, a lot of sayings that maybe haven't been as said as much on the show. Um, Again, this series was written or started like I want to say the 80s, early 90s. So take with it what you will. So
Yeah, okay. Well, guys, you know the beat. Leave us a comment. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Were you enthralled? Did you have the same plot holes that boggled you down as you watched it? Did it bother you? Let us know what you thought about your overall experience with us as you've been able to do this week to week with us and have this conversation as we talk to you, as you talk to us, and give us the. But yeah, definitely said I definitely enjoyed doing this. I can't wait for season 3. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought about this night's episode, which was What Was Meant to Be, directed by our new favorite director, Miss Sanaa Hamri. And Nat, was there any closing remarks that you had before we left out of here?
just that I enjoyed doing it with you too. Like just seeing how you take a certain scene or certain aspects of the show as a non-book reader, versus me having some knowledge of what's happening. So it's a good give and take for sure. In fact,
Yeah.
it makes you more hype and want in it. If it makes you want to read the books, then I did my job.
No, I definitely
And the
want to
show
read.
did its job too. I did my job and the show did its job. So
Well, look, we appreciate you guys for watching. Leave us them comments, and we'll see you next time for season 3.
season
Nat,
3.
see you guys.
All right, bye.